Aloha, welcome back to Aina Bear Farm. It's been a long time since we've made a video. Been really busy trying to keep everything alive in this historic drought, which, if you're looking at this video and all this greenery right now, you're probably thinking, what drought? We did have about 3 weeks in late October into November where it rained almost every day and things greened right back up. I should have done some before and after, but it's just so busy trying to keep everything from dying. You can see like the ground cover of perennial peanut here, like this was just gone. I mean, all you could see was like little dead things. Actually, that's pretty indicative of what it looked like, minus any of the green, just all over. But now we're kind of back in the wet season. It's been dry again the last few weeks, but you can see like new growth here on black sapote. A little bit of fruit here. This is the chocolate pudding fruit. So, things are growing and greening back up here. A lot of our support trees like this ice cream bean are really creating quite a bit of shade now. Much more of a forest atmosphere. And trees like this Gliricidia have been coppiced back and then already shooting out new shoots. And this was originally helping shade this chaicharu, which is now it's over my height. So I don't know, maybe 7-8 feet tall, is ready to reach up into the sun a little bit more. Beautiful kukui candle nut. It's putting on fruit now, so we'll be able to get seeds off of that and start planting out more of that. A lot of the Gliricidia that we have left is blooming right now. And so you hear like all kinds of bee activity, and this is close as we ever get to snow in Hawaii when the white petals fall on the ground. Some exciting stuff, like this is a ho'ava, which is a really nice native understory tree that is blooming for the first time. So we've got some little clusters of the very cool flowers on this. I'm excited to try to get more seed and grow out a lot more of these. I'm just kind of scanning around. Nice mac nut that's starting to bloom. Throughout the dry season, the drought, we've just worked a lot on putting down as much organic material as we could. We left a lot of stuff up, but we had been making wood chips, their wood chipper, and you can see like this is starting to get really nice and deep soil. Slugs in there I don't want to touch. And you can kind of see the fine roots working their way into that. Magical stuff. So I'll walk you around, show you some of the highlights of what's been going on. One thing I notice, we have a long dry period and then we get rain, is some of the trees like this soursop, they just go crazy and produce kind of a ridiculous amount of fruit. I mean, I don't know how many of these will end up hanging on, but definitely never seen it fruit like that before. And you can see the size of the trunk on this. This was planted by seed about actually closer to 6 years ago. So fairly quick tree to get to really nice size and put on a lot of fruit. Here we have yellow jaboticaba, which is a really, really cool tree. I mean, right now it's covered in flowers. It's got some young berries on it. They taste amazing. It does very well in full sun, which is what this site is here. It deals with the wind, and it's just constantly either holding fruit or shooting out new flowers. Pretty much in love with this tree and trying to grow more of it. And a relatively quick producer for a jaboticaba type of fruit. I mean, this is probably a 5-year-old tree, and this is the 3rd time it's fruited. Just panning over our Ma'afala ulu, fruiting for the first time. Very exciting. Ulu take a little while, 6 or 7 years to get going, but once they do, it's pretty cool. I mean, they just produce so many calories and nutrients. I'm out here in zone 4-5 where we're trying to do some native forest restoration work amongst all this guinea grass. And so this is one of our lines we've cut. It's about 100 feet long and installed a variety of trees that are interplanted. They're sort of like different successions. On the end, this is iliahi or sandalwood. That's a native. The sides are set up with pigeon pea, which is coming in nicely now. There's gliricidia from seed as a nitrogen fixer and biomass producer, shade producer. This is koa, or native acacia. So, the natives, the intention is they'll stay and fill in, and then some of these others will take out as we need the space for sunlight. That's avocado from seed, which I've started planting as a succession tree because due to the nature of the seed, I mean, it just takes off really well, even in drought conditions. It's taprooted, so it'll go down and find water. You can decide later if you want to graft onto it and actually produce fruit, or if you just want to use it like you might another support tree and mulch it out. That's another avocado. Some ice cream beans in there. Yeah, just a mix of all these different supports. Another iliahi, another koa. Some native stuff. I've planted some kukui nuts in here. Let's see if they come up. And we'll just keep mixing in more native stuff. This is alahe'e, cool native plant. And like to get some ohia in here. And a'ali'i. And this is just, one line. And once this is a little bit more established, we'll basically have like a little row of grass that we can just mow, and then we'll set up another row of same idea. Early succession species mixed with natives. We'll keep that grass mowed for a little while, but eventually the shade from both sides will close out that canopy and won't really have to maintain that grass. And over time, it'll all kind of grow together with an understory mix of fern, native ferns. That's the idea. Going well so far. I planted this when we were getting some rain. That's why it looks so good right now. But a little bit of a headache trying to water all of this. It's not on irrigation or anything. Just trying to get it to a point where it's, a little more self-sustaining. One thing about having these dry stretches is it initiates blooming on our mango trees. And so we actually have fruit on here in December, which is a little unusual. I mean, we can grow fruit all year round here, quite know, but we'll see how much of these, ripen up. A little hard to say this time of year, but a lot of flowers. This is the Mapulehu variety that we had a great harvest off of this summer, and then just turned right around and bloomed again. So we'll definitely have to kind of keep our eye on its food needs. Some of the flower panicles, like, just hanging a ton of fruit. I know all of those aren't going to stay, but it's quite a bloom. It was right after we pruned it. You can barely even tell now, but kind of tried to open up the center a little bit, let a lot of light in there. And it's one of our smaller wood chip piles. We've been chipping away things that we're clearing out, which we've done a lot of work on down here. So a lot of Tithonia that originally have been planted pretty close to our trees, like this is a Jamaican yellow heart ulu tree. Really heavily cut back that Tithonia because we don't need it for windbreak anymore. I'll kind of pan this way where the wind comes from. A lot of our more mature trees, both support trees and fruit trees, are now blocking the majority of the wind in this zone 2 section of the food forest. And so we were able to heavily cut that back, kind of free up more light air circulation to trees like this that are also maturing more now and don't need as much protection. Here's one of our compost piles. You can see the difference in terms of, like, this is the newer material at the top, the older stuff breaking down there at the bottom, and all over the place cutting back that Tithonia. So these were two that we cut back, and they've already like flushed a ton of new growth, but these are two where we actually dug them out because we didn't need them where they were anymore. And so, you know, we're kind of phasing things out here that are from the earlier days of this area of the food forest. We're still working on trying to get more perennial peanut ground cover in. The drought really slowed that down. We do have a few patches like this that are spreading around our lemon tree here. Here you can see piles of debris, a lot of Tithonia, some Gliricidia, where we had gone in and opened up. This is a Kerry mango. It's flowered before, it's never held on to fruit. So right now it's actually holding some decent size mangoes here and there. So we'll see what happens with that. Lots more flowers. And heading down into this more shaded area. Mangosteen, looking good. Cacao putting on its pretty new red leaves. And just kind of wanted to show like all the pruning. This time of year, pruning is like a huge part of the work. Pruning and chipping. In some cases we're just dropping the material, but Gliricidia here took off huge pieces of it that basically were shading an area that didn't really need it anymore, because we've got an ice cream bean that we let get pretty big. That is on purpose, because we wanted like a really high overstory shade in this area. And then kind of slowly phasing out this Gliricidia that is right next to this mangosteen so that we can open that up a little bit. Meanwhile, replacing a little bit of the shade on this side with a kukui tree. You know, just kind of another interesting succession idea. And opening up spaces like this, where this is our golden nugget grafted loquat tree. Lots of fruit coming now. And took out Tithonia, took out a lot of the Gliricidia that was kind of coming up over that and shading things. A little update on our bamboo windbreak. So these are getting wider for sure. Not that tall yet. I believe they'll be as much as 3 times this height when they're fully grown. block a lot of the wind that comes in off the ocean in this part of the property. But always fun to watch those fill in. And then I think I've posted this on video before, but during the drought, decided to get into dragon fruit, which I'd never grown before. And when it's dry, may as well grow more cacti. So, got a few different varieties here, and just planted this one yesterday that I had propagated from a cutting. That's another cool thing about dragon fruit is sort of once you get it going, it's a little bit like pineapple, which is part of the system as well, where you can just produce a lot more plants off of what you started with. So yeah, we're just plugging away here, hoping that rain will continue. We'll get a decent wet season this year because it has just been pretty backbreaking amount of work to try to stay on top of all this watering and just managing all of it. I mean, we're definitely, you can see like the chop and drop here, pigeon pea, investing a lot of time and energy into covering the soil, getting that deep organic material to hold in the moisture, which it does a good job of, and trees like this grafted macnut are getting to an age where they're going to weather drought a lot better. But we typically get between 80 and 100 inches of rain a year here, and from March to November we got 3 inches of rain. And no amount of tree health and organic material is going to keep your trees happy and healthy in that level of a drought. And so hopefully we don't experience that again for a while. But either way, we'll just keep doing the things that we know work. Try to provide support tree shade, add the organic material, keep the ground covered. This perennial peanut section here, just let it keep spreading, take over what used to be all grass. Adding the native trees like this a'ali'i, looking really happy. So we appreciate you watching. Hope everybody has really great holidays, and come back and see us again soon at Aina Bear Farm. Aloha.